May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
I'm Harry Potter.
I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? We're gonna have a problem here.
Y'all like Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up, please stand up.
I think that right now nobody's calling you Harry Potter in the street anymore.
It varies. Like sometimes people, 90% of the time people know my name now. Occasionally somebody will shout Harry. That, I have to say, that happens more in the UK than anywhere else. But yeah, I think, you know, it's very encouraging to see that people are starting to, you know, to see me doing other roles and see me doing other things and are, you know, if people didn't see Kill Your Darling.
Are you a writer? Because I've got a job for a writer.
And maybe they saw Horns.
Beat the heck out of each other, and the winner gets an exclusive interview with me.
Maybe they'll see Swiss Army Man or Imperial.
Get in there and make a difference.
We are a thinking man's soldiers. First here, and then here.
Gradually, I'm getting to show more and more people more work that I'm doing.
Yeah, but going to do a movie with Alex Aja, who is a French director,
yeah.
is a risk too.
You see, I didn't see it as a risk, because when you meet Alex, he is so confident and so sure of what he wants and just has an amazing... I mean, for Horns, he had this incredible vision. He's one of the directors that I've most enjoyed working with because of what he brings out in the crew and in the cast, obviously, but he's really collaborative. He includes everybody in the process. He's not... I don't have very much time for the sort of auteur theory of like one vision, one guy. It's like, no, if you're going to do that, why do you have a film crew of people who are all amazingly talented and creative? And Alex recognises that and uses it. And yeah, he's genuinely, I'm not just saying that because I'm in France, but he's one of my favourite directors that I've worked with.
Everybody has been excited on internet when you say that you could be running again the Harry Potter part.
Yeah, I don't mean to get everyone excited about that because they really shouldn't be getting excited about that because that's not going to happen. You know, what I said was that, you know, maybe, you know, I sort of drew the comparison with Harrison Ford and Star Wars and, you know, maybe coming back. I probably should have added in that statement that, you know, Harrison Ford had 30, 40 years between doing those movies. You know, I think it's been 5 or 6 years for me. So, you know, I'm definitely not ready to go back yet. Frankly, I also don't, the film isn't being made. Like, this is all completely hypothetical because there's not, nobody's actually, like, Warner Brothers have not mentioned it to me or asked anyone. And so, yeah, it's not something that I see kind of coming up in the near future. If it does come up in the near future, I honestly think they should cast the actors from the play. If that's the next story they're going to make, they should cast Jamie and everybody else.
But would you be okay to see another guy playing this part instead of you?
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. I mean, of course it would be weird, but you know, there's some pleasure in knowing that like I'm always going to be the first. So yeah, I've got that.
I'm Harry Potter.
When you started as a kid to play in movies, how did you manage to have your taste? Were you like hungry of reading books and books and books?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say when I was 14, I really got into reading. Before that, I watched a lot of films and I was taken to see a lot of plays as a kid. I went to the theatre a lot. I think my taste comes from, you know, my mum and dad are very eclectic people in what they like. You know, my dad, his like musical references go from everything from sort of Sondheim.
I wish.
Bob Fosse. The classic sort of Gershwin and stuff like that to, you know, David Bowie.
Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door.
Mark Bolan and T-Rex.
I'm her two-penny prince and I give her hard love.
And the Rolling Stones were...
I can't get no satisfaction.
From music to film to books and everything, my parents just had this very wide-ranging taste, and I think I inherited some of that. And also, my dad used to be an agent for writers and directors, so I think I've inherited some of my taste from him.
What are your favorite movie, like your top 5, your classics?
Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. Or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and
Love the bomb.
A Matter of Life and Death with David Niven.
June, are you pretty?
Not bad.
I think it was made in 1949, which is, when you watch it, is unbelievable. And it's got some of the most beautiful visual effects of any film that's ever been made, and they're still some of the best, I think, and it proves what you can do just with imagination and filmmaking, as opposed to computers or anything like that.
Bye, June.
Hello, G. George.
Royal Tenenbaums, the Wes Anderson movie.
they were brilliant, they were famous. They were unlucky enough to be the children of a man named Royal Tenenbaum.
One of my favourites. I also love Little Miss Sunshine. Just because it had such a place in my heart growing up, maybe Jason and the Argonauts.
Sailing to the ends of the earth, battling against an incredible number of obstacles.
Because I always loved Greek mythology, and I thought...
And the Ray was in a special effect.
Yeah, the Ray Harryhausen's effects are just beautiful and terrifying. Like, the skeletons used to absolutely terrify me, and I think that's, again, a testament to just storytelling and filmmaking.
And right now, for you, when you decide to take some risk, is it because making like 8 movies like Harry Potter gave you some freedom? Because a regular guy who could do like all this success could say, okay, I will buy a villa in Hollywood and do more and more blockbusters and
I think it does, yeah. Doing those 8 films and having that kind of financial security, what that means is that I am able to do something that very few actors at all, but certainly very few actors my age can do, which is be selective and say no to stuff. You know, I've got friends, or you know, very good friends who, if they get an audition for something terrible and they get it, they're going to do it because they have to. It's a job. So I'm really lucky to not have to do that, and I do think there's a certain amount of like, okay, Potter was the most successful thing commercially I'm ever going to be in, so now I can just have fun and do stuff that excites me and do stuff. And also, I might not be in this position forever. You know, there might come a time when I have to go like, okay, you know, I don't really want to do this, but I have to, and you know, so this is a very special position, a very special moment that I have right now. So I've just got to try and make the best of it.
What's your definition of a risk?
I suppose whenever you risk something, it involves overcoming a fear of failing at that thing. So I suppose that's how I would define risk, as just like when you know there's a chance you could fail, but you do it anyway, I guess.
How does it feel to be back in Europe? Because right now you are not a European anymore.
Right, yeah, thanks for that.
You're born European and you're not anymore.
I know, it's weird. Yeah.
We used to be brothers.
We still are, okay? We still are. I would like to say that a lot of English people still consider us brothers. Yeah, you know, Brexit just made me feel very stupid.
Plus qu'une victoire, c'est un triomphe.
Because I was so sure that we weren't gonna leave the EU. And then we did, and it just made me feel like, oh wow, I'm actually really, you know, London, all the major cities in England pretty much, they're a bubble. It was disheartening to see that so many people have been convinced and persuaded to vote their fears and vote their anger. You know, it's something that's happening all over the world now. We see it in America with Trump and his supporters, but there is a real a tendency at the moment in a lot of politicians, particularly on the right, to drive people towards anger and fear of the unknown and fear of the other. And yeah, that's really upsetting. And on a very, because I know all the arguments that were made for both for leaving and for staying in the UK was sort of economic and immigration arguments. And for me, it's just there's something much more simple than that, which is just that like the less we divide ourselves up into groups, whether that's by race or religion or nation or whatever it is, the stronger and better and happier I think everyone will probably be. So yeah, it's upsetting to see people voting for division rather than unity.
And why did you choose to support people in Calais? Because it's a risk too.
I don't think I've been as vocal as like a lot of celebrities have on that topic.
Dans ce théâtre informel, l'acteur britannique Jude Law monte une fois de plus au créneau en faveur des migrants.
I try to not like.
Yeah, but you did it as a citizen.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have political opinions, and I am very opinionated. But I always worry about talking about those things in the media, just because then people think like, oh, actors always think their opinion matters more. I don't at all think my opinion matters any more than anyone else's. But with regard to the refugees and things, I think we do. You know, when we talk about World War II and when we talk about the Holocaust and a lot of people dying and suffering, the thing we always ask ourselves is, how did that happen? How did we allow that to happen? And we sort of say, you know, we'll never let it happen again. And so I think we have to be true to our word. The myth of, oh, all the countries are getting too crowded is just ridiculous and not true. And I think, you know, if countries are in a position to help people who are the people that have no sympathy, I cannot understand. And I think if your country like the UK or like America is in a position to help, then they should.
How do you guess that we went to this situation? Because we're from the same generation and we didn't grow up with the idea to reject the other. I don't understand how.
You know, I think it's something that has happened throughout history at times of economic crisis. People can be persuaded and are persuaded by politicians that it's the fault of somebody else. You know, in the past, obviously it was Jews, and you know, if you in America, it was, you know, on the East Coast it was the Catholics and the Irish and the Italians, and on the West Coast it was the Chinese, and it was, you know, people are unfortunately very easy to persuade sometimes when things are going wrong economically, that it's the fault of immigrants, and that's just, there's no basis for that. It's just a very easy thing to tell people, and unfortunately people believe it.
When I look at your interview and the way you speak, you seem to be animated by something, by a kind of force.
Okay.
Why did you get that strength? Is it the fact have been forced to stop drinking and?
Oh no, I think I've always been like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been very, very sort of hyperactive and energetic, and I see people on the internet all the time assuming that I'm on drugs, which I'm not, just for the record. Yeah, you know, Chris Columbus on the first Harry Potter films used to say, like, you know, whatever you've got, we need to bottle it and sell it, just because, like, I do have a lot of energy. But I think it's in relation to how much I enjoy something. I don't have energy for stuff that I don't particularly enjoy. But I love acting, I love being on film sets, I'm very passionate about those two things. And I like, you know, doing interviews and talking about those things. I don't mind that at all.
Because you're free to say everything you want.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something good about, in that way, there's something good about when you start, or when you get famous kind of young and you do interviews when you're young. Again, I've got friends who are sort of starting to do publicity and interviews now, and they're always saying, like, what do I have to do? Like, how should I, like, what do I have to do differently? And the answer is nothing. You just be you, and just like, don't, you know, say anything offensive or you know. So I feel like that's always that's been an advantage for me, is that when you're young, you don't think, oh, I should be someone else. You have no option but to be yourself.
When you're talking about being a geek and go deep, like in the movies or in the books, it's the same with the music.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about rap with you, we're listening. You're not listening like the easiest rapper in the world. You're listening to Black Alicious.
Yellowback, yak mouth, young ones, yours. Yesterday's on, so cells
Eminem.
I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So all the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up.
Cool J rap and everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what but I respond to, in the same way that I respond to great writing when I read a script. The thing that excites me about music 99% of the time is the lyrics. I just think, you know, Eminem particularly, and I know, like, what a surprise, another white person saying Eminem is their favourite rapper, but I do...
You're not the only one.
I am not the only one,
and
no,
it's not a color question when it goes about Eminem.
No, I mean,
Drake is saying that too.
Make some noise for the greatest rapper to ever get on a motherfucking microphone. It goes by the name of Eminem. Legendary shit tonight.
I just find him amazing, and like when you analyse some of the lines and the lyrics, sometimes he will fit, you know, 2 references to other stuff and amazing rhyming and a pun and like he'll do it all in like 3 lines, and and sometimes you don't, like, it takes you so long sometimes, like I can listen to those songs again and again and again and I'm still like hearing new things. Also, Eminem's one of the only people that can make me laugh. Putting jokes in there that are just, you know, funny or rude or whatever it is, but I just think there's a level of skill there that, like, I can't even relate to.
What's your favorite punchline from Eminem?
Something like promising complete dominance, Sugar Ray Robinson, I'm in the league.
I'm in the league, Mohammed's and Ali's my colleague, bombing them, probably end up on top of them, stomping them like Dominican. I'm Russian like a Ukrainian, LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson is used to be a running back in the NFL, a very good one. What they sometimes call that job is rushing, which he makes into Russian and then also fits Ukrainian in. Like, there's just so much going on in like 3 lines. You're like, how did you ever come up with that? It's amazing.
And when I listen to you do some Eminem rapping, I know that you are the only one guy who can go as fast as him.
That's not true. I'm sure that's not true anymore.
There is one that I love to do, is like when you say,
another way to get him motivated, I make elevating music. You make elevator music. Oh, he's too mainstream. Well, that's what they do when they get jealous, they confuse it.
Rap God, he killed everybody.
It's a ridiculous song. I mean, it's 6 minutes of... And there was something about it I loved as well, because it was just him being like, yeah, I am the best at this. The song is called Rap God, and I am better than this at all of you. It was great.
You talk about Eminem, but your top 5 MCs.
Oh, God. No, you know what? I can't. That's the thing. I'm actually much more into, like, indie music and sort of alternative stuff.
Artist groups.
At the moment, okay, the Libertines are... Pixies. Sex Pistols. And at the moment, I'm not saying he's all-time top 5, but he's very good. This guy called Father John Misty.
My mother's depression, you got your father's scorn, and a wayward and schizophrenia.
All his albums are great. And who else would I say? Who else am I listening to a lot at the moment? M. Ward.
First time I ran away, I saw faces in the tree.
I always listen to a lot of M. Ward, but he's just somebody that I think just gets better and better and better the more I listen to him.
I have one last question. The show is called Clique.
Clique.
What's your definition of a clique?
That. That's about as technical as my clicks get. Yeah, that would be mine. Is that simple? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a pleasure.